Road monkey like Fritos. Road monkey like Tab and Mountain Dew. Road monkey, very simple man with big, warm, fuzzy secret heart. Road monkey like you. Road monkey like you.
Greetings! I am your host, the Media Raptor, and when I'm not ripping off better and more successful YouTubers, I'm here at the Raptor Lair, reviewing... Okay, I'm not going to do that anymore. Hey guys, what's going on? It's me. Still October, still counting down. Let's review another horror movie. This one has a pretty interesting story behind it. The movie in question is a 2009 horror film called Trick or Treat. Originally supposed to come out in 2007, it was kinda shelved due to the fact that it had the murder of children in it. I'll cover that in a minute. But hey, horror movies got a horror movie. And for a while, it kinda had a cult following before it was released because people just thought it looked cool. And what happened was, eventually in 2009, it was released on home video and just destroyed the sales charts. Everyone loved it. In fact, a few theaters started running it. It was aired at a film festival and took away Best Film overall. Yeah, this horror movie from 2007. That's how good we're talking. And frankly, I can see why. It's a good horror movie. It's a horror anthology film, which of course is just a bonus for me because I love horror anthology to begin with. And has, unique characters, a unique new character, Sam, the infamous, what the heck is he anyways? That little kid dude with the weird pumpkin head and all that. I'll get to that in a bit. And frankly, I never really got the chance to watch it. It wasn't until last year when Dr. Wolf Viola, the guy I was just ripping off earlier, reviewed it, and I'm like, you know what? I want to watch that. Finally got my hands on a Blu-ray, checked it out, and it's weird, man. Like, really weird. Good, but weird. So, as with any good anthology film, there's more than one story. Wow, that just fell flat. Anyhow, there's, let me just try and remember. There's The Werewolf, The Bus. This is the one with Sam himself. Jack-o'-lanterns. There's 5 stories. I'm just going to run through what each one of them is real quick. So, one of them is a principal or a teacher kills a student and has to hide the body from his son. Another one is a bunch of kids are going to light jack-o'-lanterns to try and remember a school full of mentally troubled, that's the only term I want to use without getting in trouble, children who were driven off of a cliff, no joke. The third one has to do with, it's a reverse Red Riding Hood, and the fourth one, what was the other one I was talking about? The bus, the jack-o'-lanterns, no, that's the same one. And the fourth one, okay, so there's only 4 actually, has to do with Sam himself. Now, if you guys want to watch this movie and not hear any of the spoilers, I'm going to kind of spoil each one so I can talk about each one. So if you guys don't want to hear spoilers, I'm just going to tell you now, the movie's great, check it out. Just go check out another review or something, or I don't know. You can really just go do whatever. You could go stare at a toaster or something, I don't know. So let's start with the first one, the one that has to do with the teacher. Yeah, he's kind of a jerk, he hates Halloween, and he murders a student using chemicals or whatever. It's a pretty simple and basic horror story with him trying to hide the fact that, he killed a student from his son, only for the twist to be in the end that it looks like he's going to kill his son, but they're using the head of the student he killed to make a jack-o'-lantern. Yeah, I can kind of see why this movie was kind of controversial, and we're not even at the worst part yet of the movie. It's a simple horror movie with these constant basic build-up and it builds up and it goes down, like this constant feeling of dread and what's gonna happen to this kid. Not the one that dies, that's pretty obvious, he dies within like a minute, but like his son more, who it almost looks like he doesn't care for. But in the end it turns out, no, he does actually. So it's a serviceable one. I don't remember the order they were in, I just remember that was the first one, and then the Sam one was the last one, and the second one I'm going to talk about is my personal favorite. It's the bus one. And I'm pretty sure they all have names, but just roll with it. So the plot is there's a bunch of kids who are essentially taking jack-o'-lanterns because they're going to go and light them at a cliffside because 30, 40 years ago, a bunch of parents couldn't take the fact that their kids were, like, mentally unstable and paid a bus driver to drive them off a cliff. Or was it to drive them... I don't know, they were trying to get rid of their kids. What happened was one kid got loose, got to control the bus, tried to drive it home, and drove it off a cliff. The bus driver survived, and all the kids died. Now, there's this one girl going along named Rhonda, who everyone, of course, drops, the name retarded Rhonda around, because, hey, they're teenagers, what do you expect? Although I have heard worse, directed at me, but essentially, the big thing is, she's the one who kind of believes that there's a curse, that the spirits of the children would rise if the jack-o'-lanterns were not put there or if they were tampered with. So, of course, all the other kids who are complete and total jerks are like, hey, let's prank her, let's scare her and make fun of her because, well, we got nothing better to do. And what happens is, well, they do just that. Only for the spirits of the children to rise, and they're kind of pissed off. And this is going to sound really dark, but watching a bunch of children get murdered by dead children is oddly satisfying. I can explain. You guys ever see Tales from the Crypt? Remember I did a review on Tales from the Crypt Keeper a while ago? What made Tales from the Crypt work is the characters who got what was coming to them deserved it. They were the most unlikable, despicable, and just generally the worst aspects of humanity. And in this one, you kind of feel like the dead children, when they rise, you're like, oh, okay, it's going to be a reverse prank. They're going to get scared too. And then you realize, wait a minute, if they killed children in this movie, maybe they're not afraid to go all the way. And they go all the way. Rhonda's the only one who survives, and all the others are killed by these angry spirits. That sounds really dark, but it makes for a good story. The third one is just weird, even by my standards. It's essentially about this girl who dresses up like Red Riding Hood, and I'm pretty sure this guy who really wants to, do stuff, is stalking her. Only for the twist at the end to be, she's a werewolf. And all the girls are werewolves that she surrounds herself with. And they kill him. You're noticing a pattern here. Yeah, that story, that story was probably the worst one for me, at least, because I kind of felt it was just... I don't know, I felt like it was not trying to tell a story as much as it was trying to have girls wear revealing costumes, which... I don't know. 3 out of 4 is fine. 3 out of 4, fine, good enough. And the final story is the one where we actually get to meet Sam. Granted, he shows up in all the other stories, but he doesn't do anything. He just sort of watches. So, what happens in the fourth one? Well, there's this old guy who is putting razor blades in candy bars. Yeah, didn't know that was an actual thing. That's kind of a thing this movie has going for it, is it likes to put razor blades in everything. And he's essentially a Scrooge of Halloween. He hates Halloween, he doesn't understand why people like it, and he just doesn't care about it in general. So Sam shows up and tries to kill him. The guy tries to kill Sam even so far as blasting his head open with a shotgun. Keep in mind, Sam was played by a 6-year-old. But when the hood comes off, we find out his head is a giant pumpkin demon thing. That's cool. Now, what's the big twist at the end? What does he do? Well, he gives Sam a chocolate bar. And he kind of realizes, yeah, he was being a jerk. Seems like a happy ending. Sam leaves, the guy learns one of the rules of Halloween, and everything seems fine. Until one of the best plot twists ever happens. Remember those dead children on the bus? Remember how I said the bus driver survived? Guess who the bus driver is? Yeah. It's the old guy. Now what makes this movie work is it's kind of got a Pulp Fiction style going for it, with having all 4 stories happening simultaneously. And it works. 3 out of the 4 stories work incredibly well, and there's even a kind of a cool intro which kind of sets up what Sam is. There's rules of Halloween, like you do not blow out a jack-o'-lantern until after Halloween, like until after midnight, and you don't take your decorations down, like stuff like that. And if you don't follow those rules, Sam will kill you. That's what happens in the beginning. But it's really cool because all these stories, as the movie goes on, you begin to see, oh wait, they're all connected. It's all in the same neighborhood. And then at the end, you're slammed with, oh wait, they all actually connect to one another. That I'm not going to spoil how, because that would be taking away from a whole lot. But it is awesome. In fact, the writing is great. All the characters who you're supposed to like or feel sympathy for, you like and feel sympathy for. Sam, despite having no backstory or personality, no spoken dialogue whatsoever, is one of the coolest characters I've seen in a long time, and I really feel like he could be considered one of the great horror villains now, like Freddy or Jason or Michael, Leatherface, Pinhead, Chucky the Crypt Keeper, like those guys. I feel like he actually is kind of like one of them. And I think what really helps this movie is the acting is really good from everyone. And that surprised me, because there are child actors, and, you know, you don't have to look far to find bad child actors. Looking at you, Phantom Menace. But all the actors try hard and actually do a pretty good job. Now, I think what really helps this movie are the effects. It's all done practically, very little CG, and it looks awesome. Makeup is top-notch. It is some of the best I've seen in a while. The gore is not plentiful because it is only PG-13, 14A rating-ish. But when it's there, it works. The sets, the costumes, everything looks great. It looks like it's actually, you know, trying. But then we get to something I rarely, if ever, talk about, music. Normally, if I talk about music, it's to say it's either I didn't really care about it, didn't like notice it, or it was great, or it was bad. Sorry. Today we're doing something a little different. Sorry. You guys ever heard Sweet Dreams Are Made of These? You guys know the band Marilyn Manson? You guys ever wanted to hear Marilyn Manson cover Sweet Dreams Are Made of These while a bunch of female werewolves tear into a guy? No, nobody does. That's disgusting and really weird. Why would you think about that in the first place? Guess what we have in the movie? Yeah. It's not a bad cover per se. I don't really care for Marilyn Manson to begin with. But it's adding to the weirdness of the movie. That's really all I can say. So, really, when it gets down to it, can I recommend Trick or Treat? Definitely. Giving it a solid 3 Raptor Claws out of 4. It is a Halloween classic for me now. I will be watching it this Halloween. I look forward to watching it again. And if you want a good scare, if you just want to kick back and watch a fun but efficient horror movie, I recommend Trick or Treat. They've been talking about a sequel for a long time, and I really hope they do make it, because this movie deserves one. And the guy who directed this directed Krampus, and if you guys remember that, it's one of my favorite Christmas movies now. So this guy has a good track record so far with the 2 films I've seen from him. But hey, that's all for now, you guys, and until next time, this is the Media Raptor saying keep cool. I'll see all you dino dudes around. Later.